many others, and he's gotten lots of awards for it. So please welcome back to the table, Doug Blush.
I'm going to start standing because, you know, we sit a lot, don't we? Yeah. It's if Zach was here, he'd say, yeah, stand up. Come on, move your legs. How's your 2 years been? It's been a while, folks. It's been a minute. I just want to thank Michael and the whole gang here at LACPUG. It's so cool to be back in 3D. Oh my God. So thanks everybody for coming tonight. This is really just so gratifying to see audiences and people talking about this stuff and not in little squares on my computer screen. This is really, really nice. So got a few friends here from Fight On over there. Hey, what's up? Any other folks in the? Hey, all right, you guys made it. All right, we're gonna play the trailer then. It's been a little while, and I love being back because part of the fun of this is that everybody knows that docs are going crazy out there, right? How many of you like filled up your queue with 45 serial killer like limited series during the pandemic, right? I very happily haven't done any serial killers yet, and I don't plan to. I find that there's a much wider, more interesting world out there. I simply say that docs are happening, folks. There's a lot going on in the documentary community right now, and I'm very proud to say that LA has become an absolute doc volcano. We're not really known as that for many, many years, as much as San Francisco and New York and to some degree Chicago. Now LA can honestly say we are absolutely world class in terms of our documentary community, our documentary productions, the OGs and the new people coming in. There's an incredible community here. And that's why I was saying during the Stump the Gurus that, hey folks, if you're interested in working in film, do not discount the possibility that nonfiction is out there for you. And certainly there are other hybrids of that. There's the reality zone, and some of you may be working in that right now. There are, these sort of selfie Instagram influencer things. But then there's documentary in the traditional sense, and that's really where I've been living a lot of my professional career, and I couldn't be happier. It's a great community. Some of the best people you'll ever meet. We help each other. We boost each other up. And we celebrate each other's victories as we go along. So it's kind of the other Hollywood that's not so Hollywood, I always say, and I'm really proud to be a part of this community. I've been busy. I've been doing stuff. Hope you guys have too. I figured tonight, instead of attempting to do what the flyer said, which is I'm going to solve all your documentary problems in 30 minutes, I'm not. I'm gonna let you down easy here. That's not possible. Documentary is a giant bag of hurt, and it's going to crush all of you like bugs. But in the process, you're going to be damn proud of the work you do. It's the craziest business model ever. Hey, let's go front fund something and hope somebody buys it at the end. Whee! It's crazy. It's a crazy business model. It's a crazy way to live, and yet there's no life like quite like it. And I'm very happy to have been a part of many documentaries that took place in Los Angeles that were made by Los Angeles filmmakers, and then all over the world as well. I'm going to show you a couple things. I'm going to show you something. I don't think I showed this before at LACPUG, but I'm going to go ahead and just show this. I whipped this up literally an hour before I went on for a panel discussion, and I just said, I'm going to take a bunch of clips and I'm going to throw it together. And this is here's a sample of what we do at my company, MadPix.
Somebody says, why would you save movies? Well, I'd ask those people back, why do you save your family pictures?
I'd like to continue with a song that I wrote myself. It's called I Seen Fire and I Seen Rain, and it goes like this.
It is very important that the people who make the law be subject to the law.
And people are like, damn, this guy is a superhero.
I want my children to be able to say, that's my mom!
So there's my little inspirational quickie vid for conferences and things. I actually recently had it translated into Chinese when I was over there before the pandemic, and it's been in a few other languages. Fortunately, there's very little dialogue, so that's helpful. So where are we at with documentaries now? The form has mutated, it's grown, it's expanded. There's so many docs out there. There's so many ideas and processes and things going on. There are terrific animated docs. There are sports docs. There's murder mysteries. There's some really great stuff that's very, very hard to describe. It's iconic characters. All kinds of stuff is going on. I get bored easily. I'm going to admit it. I get bored easily, so I work on everything. I don't have a specialty. Some people think, oh, he's a music guy. He does a lot of music docs. Yeah, I do music docs. But then I'll immediately turn around and take a sports doc because I love sports stories, and I love the behind the sports stories, the 30 for 30 type pieces, and I've worked on some great ones like that. I love character pieces, but I also love investigative docs. We've done some really, really hard-hitting investigations. I'm working on a couple right now. NDAs, don't ask. And those hopefully will do what we, at the very best of our craft, hope to do, which is change the world. We want to change the world. And it seems like, oh, you guys, that's just words. You're just saying that. No, we can do that with documentaries. We have, in fact, with some of the films I've worked on, there have been laws changed. There have been cases brought forward. There have been new policies put in place by everything from the U.S. military to universities and colleges addressing Title IX. Many, many things have happened because of documentaries, and that's just the ones I've worked on. Our community has done things like get justice for orca whales in captivity, to change people's eating habits, you name it. If you want to change something and you don't feel like running for political office, which I think a lot of us don't feel like doing, although, hey, get out there and go vote and go run. Documentaries are another way to change the world, and I'll stand by that some of the films I've worked on have, honestly, I feel like we have helped, and we've made the world a little bit better place. I say all this to try to recruit all of you amazing, talented people to come and try documentary. A lot of people who come to LACPUG, they come in and they want to edit, and the general sense is, I want to cut big movies, I want to cut Marvel, I want to cut indie fiction features, horror movies, whatever. But a lot of people forget how big a world documentary is and how much we need you. As this pool of films grows, and it's exponential. If you look on Netflix, you can scroll for about 20 minutes before you get to the bottom of the doc section. You'll see a whole lot of like alien pyramid stuff if you go down there, but do it at your own risk. But it's out there, and there's a ton of stuff in production right now. We need you. We need editors. I like I said during the opener, we can't find enough. I've stopped answering emails like, hey, anybody who's available? It's like, no, I don't. There's nobody available. All of my friends are either they've moved on and they're directing and producing like I am, or they're bought out by Netflix for the next 6 years or something. So there's not a lot of availability. I'm having friends of mine who are graduating from USC, fight on, getting great jobs. And yes, I'm looking at you over there, Ava. One of my wonderful essay from USC, who's my teaching assistant, is now working at an amazing company up in Pasadena that I worked for as well, and doing great work there. It's out there. It's happening. So if I sound like I'm rallying, it's because I don't want to answer the phone all the time saying, I don't know anybody who's available, you know. If you make yourself available, there's work. There's work. And it's not just, oh, now I'm a documentary editor. There's a process. You have to learn the flow. You have to kind of get the sense of what does documentary narrative feel like. And I say documentary narrative because we're not making films that are just good for you. We're making films that are good movies. We don't want to make boring films. None of us do. I challenge everyone that we're making films as good or better than the fiction that's going up on Netflix and on HBO and everything else. We're making the good stuff. And some of that is as thrilling and as terrifying and as sexy and as good as anything on the fiction side. Not picking a fight with you fiction folks. No, I'm not doing that. In fact, I steal tons of ideas, editorially, story design-wise, steal a ton of things from great narratives, great works of fiction. But that's where documentary's at. We are a great cinematic craft now, and that's what we're doing. So what I'll do, and you keep me honest, Michael, I don't know how long I have before we got to go to the big break, but thanks. I'm going to show you a couple things that are just coming out there. So I'm going to go across a wide spectrum of stuff that I've been working on. This is mostly pandemic babies. These were films that were either entirely shot and finished during the pandemic or drifted into post during the pandemic, which is actually not a bad thing to have happen in a way. The joke among editors is during the last couple of years, oh, there was a pandemic, I hadn't noticed. So the deal is that many of these came out of that era, and you're going to see a lot more films that were born during that time or that were partially finished during that time. This is just a little sampler. I'm going to start with one. I'm going to start rocking out here. This is a film that, in fact, I co-directed right before the big shutdown, and now we're playing it around. We always wanted this to go out into the real world, and now that festivals are not virtual anymore, we're starting to play it live, and you'll see the kind of people that we have in it who are coming to be our guests. Here we go.
Artists love to give back. They realize their success is based on the fans. And that's how I came up with the idea of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp.
It's very easy to forget where you came from.
Once Roger started doing it, it opened up the door. Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp became part of pop culture.
Just like that.
Welcome to Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp.
Okay, this person can play, this person can kind of play. You would have a 15-year-old kid playing drums and a dentist on guitar. If this band were a real band, it would be the weirdest band ever, but cool.
A lot of really good players come through.
One guitar player was shredding like a mother, and I'm thinking, what are you? He goes, I'm a doctor. I'm going, wow.
I want every rock star to do what inspires them.
I had to experience it.
If Bob Dylan and Gene Simmons and Jimi Hendrix auditioned for The Voice, do you think we'd make it? Oh, it's Valentine, this is fine. You think we'd make it?
I see you playing, but get with him.
It's great, huh?
Paul Stanley, same. Reminded him of Buddy Miles.
Hey, babe, I'm in the middle of a vocal thing. Ready? I'll call you back, okay?
Looking forward to another good bashing of Rock Camp.
I've reconnected with my joy of playing.
Singing for the first time on stage.
It's a very special thing. That moment, and for me and for him, it's real.
I can't think of a more fun thing to do. I mean, it's better than stamp collecting.
All right, so thanks. That's actually available. It's on Apple, and you can download and watch it off of the different services. Yeah, it's a lot of. This one was, I got to admit, sometimes this is a really fun job. hanging out at this camp and hanging out with those guys and those women, amazing times. So that's on the high end of the fun scale. Let me show you another one. This one came out literally as the pandemic was breaking. We were going to go and have the greatest party ever at South by Southwest 2020. Oops. But I'll always imagine the kind of party we would have thrown if we could have put this one out there. This is actually on Paramount Plus, and you can watch it tonight if you dare subscribe. It's a great thing to watch.
It's the hot new buzz, video games.
With 95% or more of the market, we were the video game industry. But then it changed.
It was hard to build a major video game system.
None of us really knew if Sega was going to be a success.
The challenges we had were the very strong presence of Nintendo.
We needed something to compete with Mario.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
A hedge what?
We established a rule that Nintendo was not going to get pushed around.
We're at war, guys.
We gotta win this.
It became a kind of spy versus spy.
They had these large inflatable balloons like Sonic.
He had them deflated.
A lot of yelling and screaming at various events.
They were furious with us.
I did not expect the U.S. Congress to get involved.
We sent a message to Sega that we were going to continue to fight.
There was a lot at stake.
It was unbelievable.
You got to be ready to fight.
All right. The greatest battle of our times, ladies and gentlemen. It just goes to show you, too, that you can make a documentary about anything, you know, and I'm not kidding with this. There are films literally about dirt, about the font Helvetica, and it's one of the greatest documentaries of this century, by the way. It's anything you can think of that might be interesting to the world is interesting to the world if you go out there and you make an interesting take on it. Along with that, you saw in here one of the important things that's sort of happened to documentaries in the last 20 years or so is our game has really risen in terms of our presentation, our cinematic quality, and our graphics. This particular film, Console Wars, was done by a company called Mindbomb, one of the best graphics companies in LA. We work with them all the time. They actually took it upon themselves to create all of our main characters from this documentary in 8-bit, and they had 8-bit versions of them running around during the film. And then eventually they evolve into 16-bit characters later on. But that's the kind of fun you can have with the expanding world of what's possible, you know. There are so many techniques and ideas that come from the world of After Effects or the world of animators that we're applying to documentaries now that are making them much more entertaining and vital than they might have been in the past. But at the same time, there are good old-fashioned, what I call, you know, the verite character docs. This is one that we were just premiering this last couple of months. We've been out on the road with this. One of the most beautiful films I've worked on in the last couple of years. And this includes captions for a reason, because we have a very, very active connection to the deaf community.
She's terrified of police officers.
You want to take your jacket off because you're hot?
Are you hot? She won't talk. She's dead.
Oh, she is?
I can't even conceive of not being able to hear and not being able to talk in Florida State Prison. If I were a prosecutor, I could make a compelling argument why Michelle should go back to prison.
So that, and we just won the Awareness Film Festival in downtown Los Angeles a couple weeks ago. This film is really special, and we're really excited to get it out there. It's touring film festivals right now, and there'll be more news to come eventually. But one of the most amazing Q&As I've been a part of was to an all-deaf audience. It was a remarkable night, and what a powerful time we had with this film. So that's the other kind of stuff that I work on. I love big, bold, entertaining, popular culture films, but I also like things that I think can kind of change the world if possible. I'm gonna pull up one of my favorites because of special guests here tonight. I think I should show this. We have some special guests in the audience, but I'll play the trailer first, and then we'll talk.
My involvement with the Running Club gives me the ability to impact lives in a way that I cannot as a judge.
I came all the way right here. I just dropped my window. I started shooting at them, and when they both fell, I knew I'd hit them.
This is what I used to call home. Climbing in and out of a hole on a regular basis like it's perfectly normal.
I got arrested, I got out, jail, and then I just drank as much as I could, hoping to die.
I was in the streets, just not being able to take care of myself.
I have created so much wreckage because of my drinking and, drug use.
I knew that I needed help.
One horrendous act does not define a person in his or her entirety. I started out with just a few runners. They learned very quickly that you do not run a full marathon without a lot of training. Not everybody succeeds.
I knew I had found another passion, and that was running.
Be ready to rock and roll. Here we come, the Midnight Runners.
Maybe the running club, it's a way for him to do something good.
Do I believe in a second chance? Sure I do. Giving someone from Skid Row an opportunity to come to a glorious city is incredibly empowering. It gives them dignity.
This is my letter of recommendation from Judge Craig Mitchell. I'm a decent human being. That's crazy.
They deserve to go.
It all boils down to this moment.
It's just such a big deal being here. It's not just about homeless people running in Rome.
This is all like a turnaround for me in my life.
Running gives me a sense of discipline and commitment. It's part of my life.
Whatever sacrifices I have made to make this possible, it's worth it.
All right. And I do, if we have house lights, I just want to very quickly say that we have honored guests here tonight, Gabi and Mark, the producer and director of the film. Great to see you guys again. One of the most beautiful films I think I've worked on in my entire career, this one right here, and it's please seek it out. It's on various different ways to download and view all over the place. So yeah, I wanted to show you just kind of a range of things we've been working on. I guess I would open it up to any quick questions. Do we have a little time for that?
Yeah, we have like
8 minutes. Oh, I'm going to go out. I'll go out on some kind of music on the end, but yeah.
Within the last 5-6 years, what are some documentaries that you've seen that have broken and expanded the form or just really resonated with you?
Wow. I watch a lot of documentaries, and many of them I either am contemplating working on or viewing for awards rankings or whatever. The ones that seem to touch me the most are ones that are trying things unexpected. I try this in my own work. I try to surprise the audience with what you thought this film was going to be about, and it's not. One of the big examples of that was Icarus that I worked on, which I think some of you have seen on Netflix. That's a big surprise film. Thank you, yeah. And that wasn't a surprise we expected. So the films that I enjoy the most are ones where I can tell that the documentary team was making something else, and they got surprised by what they were making. Maybe there wasn't, they went in with an idea of what they were making, but documentary is a God said ha kind of medium. And what happens with the best documentaries is people roll with that. They follow the story. They don't tell the story where to go. They say, story lead me where it's supposed to go. And that's one of the best lessons I've learned working on docs is don't preconceive what you're going to find out there, because you're going to find something else. Avo, you know what I'm talking about. It's a wonderful medium because guess what? No script. And if you have a script, you're going to be tossing it over your shoulder about halfway through, because stuff is going to change your mind even about what you thought you believed. I've learned things working on docs where my long-held beliefs from when I was a kid or my young 20s, like, I'll never change my mind about this. I've changed my mind about some stuff because of films I've worked on. And that's a really lovely thing to do when you're adulting. You know, you learn to be a bigger, better person by working on films like this. So the answer is I could name specific films. There's so many great films out there. Just watch as many docs as you can. You'll stumble into your own favorites. I just saw one. I'll throw this out there. I just saw one literally a couple days ago that absolutely tore my heart out. It's called A House Made of Splinters. And it's about Ukrainian, and it's not about the war, it's about Ukrainian orphans or those who are taken into protective custody. It's one of the most beautiful films I think I've ever seen. It's stunning. So if you get a chance to see that, I think it was made by folks in Denmark, but it's one of the most beautiful things I've seen. And then there's another film that anybody who knows me, I rant about this film. It's called Honeyland. If you haven't seen Honeyland, just like take the day off and dim the lights and watch this film. It's just a piece of absolute art. It's one of my favorite films of the millennium so far. So there's two examples right there. But you corner me and I'll throw you 100 more that I love. Yeah. I watch a lot of docs. Any other quick questions? I'll do one more and then I'll end on a musical note. Okay. Let's see. I want to find a woman too. Anybody? Any female questions? Yes.
As an editor, in considering documentary, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges? Like going through hundreds of hours of film?
Thousands of hours of footage. Yeah, that's it. A big giant pile of what do we do with this? It's the same thing that makes it horrifically difficult is also the greatest gift, because guess what? The editor a lot of times dictates the story of the film in a way that in fiction, although a fiction editor does beautiful things and changes the story sometimes and adds so much, in nonfiction, the editor might essentially be writing the movie. And I've been left that way. I've had directors leave a big old hard drive behind and say, bye, and they leave. And sometimes they go and have a pleasant breakdown somewhere after filming all the stuff they filmed. And then it's like, okay, so I'm going to write this now on my timeline. And that's a thrilling thing. I love solving puzzles like that, whether I start early on a doc. A lot of docs I come in later when they're basically, they all hate each other and they're ready to like flush the hard drives down a hot lava tube or something. And I try to come in and give perspective on, this is a good film. Let's blow it up and restructure it and make it new and more than it is now. That's a thrill as an editor, to be able to craft and write and create a narrative out of stuff that was never meant to go together that way, you know. And you discover stories as you go. You also have to kill off so many great storylines in the process. And that's the other part of it. It's very painful sometimes. But I love it. I love being a doc editor. I mostly don't do that anymore, but I will occasionally sneak behind the keyboard. I just don't talk about it as much as I used to. I'm doing a lot of producing and directing now, but at the same time, editing is... I come to directing, producing, even cinematography as an editor. And as most of us are editors, be proud. That's where the real cinematic language comes from, is from the edit room, for sure. And yeah, fight on, Walter, St. Walter. That's right. Nowadays, yes, I get writing credits. Yes, real quick.
What kind of income, what kind of money can be made?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say money? I thought we understood the rules here. Yeah, the greatest job, you'll never get paid for it. No, to be honest, There used to be, it used to be the question of like, oh, you're a documentarian, that's so nice. What do you do for your job though? Nowadays, that's not true anymore. You can be a working documentarian and make not just a working living, but decent living, a nice living. I'll tell you, if you want to make money in documentary, be an editor or a sound person, because they're going to get paid. Everybody else, you don't know for sure.
The reason I'm asking is I just texted my nephew who's a composer.
Yeah.
And the first reply he said to me was, there's no money in documentary music.
Oh, yeah. I know a bunch of composers who mostly do documentaries, and they would argue with that. But there's only so much room for high-budget scores, you know. I've been very lucky to have some films that have like really well-paid scores. But yeah, money is tight all over the place. But production costs are lower too. So you don't have, you have to build giant sets, and you don't have to get out these giant cranes. And if you make the documentary within your means, you can actually turn a decent profit on these films. And that's why I work on about 20 at the same time. It allows me to actually have a career where I can travel and do things and also work on a lot of films.
We have to move along.
Oh, I can't show one to go up.
God bless.
Thanks, everybody.